All right, guys, we are going over blockchain technology today from the Innovation Ultimatum. And I read through the Innovation Ultimatum chapter and did a little more research on this one because I think the Innovation Ultimatum does a good high level, but it's kind of good to have a little more deeper understanding of the blockchain technology and what it is. So, what is it? And I know right now you're all bracing for a bad joke about blocks and stone chains. It's not happening, all right, guys? Turns out stone blocks made of chains or chains made of stone blocks never actually existed. Stone Age, they used rope. Bronze Age, rope. Iron Age, they used rope still. Late Iron Age, the chain was invented. So this is new, brand new. Actually, blockchain wasn't even a word until after 2006. So very, very new. This, I don't know if you guys ever use this. It's fun. Google does the where words found in English use and literature and whatnot. It's not even there. 2006 is kind of where it started. So now, what actually is it? Blockchain is a digital database containing information such as records of financial transactions that can be simultaneously used and shared within a large, decentralized, publicly accessed network. But wait, there is more. So, from the definition, it's the digital database containing information. That's really any information. So, I know a lot of us have probably heard of cryptocurrencies, and that's where we get familiar with hearing blockchain. It does not have to be currency or cryptocurrency. It could just be information stored ones and zeros that make up a picture or make up a song or make up a novel. It just has to be information. It's decentralized and shared within a network. So it's not held by one individual, it's shared evenly across the network. And it can also be used simultaneously among those on the network. Now, as blockchain technology gets more and more advanced, that part kind of gets a little easier and simpler. The original blockchains were pretty slow and arduous, and really, I think it was down to like 4 accesses per second or something like that. And now it's millions and whatnot. So that's where blockchain is really getting more involved. But the main thing that the definition doesn't really capture is it's nearly infallible system of record that cannot be altered. That's really the key to blockchain. And how does it do this amazing thing? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a simple blockchain. Now, this is a really kind of basic down version of it to just give an idea of how it works. I was actually going to just play you a 17-minute video of how this works and claim it was my own, but fortunately the guy who made that video uses his name in it, and you guys would not be fooled. So if you really want to know the nitty-gritty of how blockchain works, I can send you the link to that video. It's actually really interesting, and from watching that, it kind of gave me an idea of really what what blockchain technology really can offer on a deeper level. But for our purposes here, we're just going to keep it simple. So we start with a block, which is going to be a kitten. Our information is a kitten. That kitten block has a key to the next block, which basically references the information on the previous block. In a sense, kitten is the key to the next block, which connects to duckling. The duckling information block then has a key that goes to the next block, which is referencing duckling. That then goes to the Pagani Zonda R, which has the Pagani Zonda R key to the next block, which is Dan. Dan is our final block in the blockchain and has the key Dan to the next block. So there we go. That's kind of how a blockchain gets set up. So what happens if somebody goes and changes the information? Clearly, that's no longer a Pagani Zonda R, that is a Koenig Ruggiero. The blockchain has now been altered. That changes everything after that point because the key linking back to the Ruggiero now is no longer the Zonda key, and it's broken. Everything going forward is now incorrect. Well, can't we just fix that? Sure, we could swap it out to the Ruggiero key, and then the chain is reestablished, which connects to Dan and so forth. but it doesn't work exactly like that, because if we go back to our definition and we see that second piece, decentralized and shared within a network. So that's where the blockchain technology really gets its strength. So we'll have several blockchains now. We've got Tom's ledger, David's ledger, and Heath's ledger. We all have Kitten. So this is the way it works. I add Duckling, Dave and Heath add Duckling to the blockchain because it's a shared ledger across all the network. Once that happens, Dave solves the key for Duckling and shares it with myself and Heath. So we now all have the Duckling key. The trick there is that really somebody who is not adding the information is sharing or solving the key to move it to the next step. It's kind of another level of security there. And then Dave now adds the Zonda R, and Heath solves for the Zonda R key and shares it with us. So we've now unlocked the next step in the blockchain. Well, now Heath adds Dan, and we all add Dan, and then Dave solves the key for Dan, and so forth. So now we've all got the same blockchain. Well, what if Heath goes and adds that Koenig again? Well, his blockchain is broken. If he goes to now try and change his key to Rajira, it's still not going to match with the rest of the network. And that's really where the strength of this lies. So that way there is a check and balance against everybody else in the network, and we can see what's going on. So sounds pretty cool, but what can we really do with a fancy ledger? It turns out a lot. This technology is a disruptor because it will decentralize any industry and do so with a high level of security and accountability. So what if we start with a trusted centralized source of information? This could really be anything. It could be your medical records. It could be your bank accounts. It could be property ownership information with a county or a title company. However that's set up, there's going to be people that come around and they want to access that. So they've got to go back to that trusted centralized source of information. It's the old way. What happens if we go the blockchain way? Well, we've removed that centralized source and everybody is just sharing the information now. So at that point, there is still a high level of security, and we've pretty much just eliminated a major function in the marketplace in a lot of industries. So how could blockchain impact our industry? Well, financing, you could have peer-to-peer lending at that point, where instead of having to go to a bank, it's really just a blockchain network that everybody is borrowing from. Credit history, you no longer have to go to Experian, Equifax, all those guys. It's really, you just check into the blockchain credit history and everybody's sharing it. You can find out somebody's debt payment reporting, their outstanding debts, and you're no longer relying on a centralized source of information. Property ownership, title history, mechanics liens. Mechanics could issue their liens into a blockchain network, which goes on to potentially every property in the county, the state, however they do that, or title history. Property moves from one individual to another without involving a title company anymore. And it's secure, reliable, and it can be traced on the ledger. Or what about loan terms when our lender comes back and says, well, that 4.5 interest rate was a mistake and it really should be 5.5. Well, if that's traded amongst everybody in the loan package on blockchain technology, we could easily go back and say, well, according to the first or second block, we were at the lower rate, and there's no denying it. Or the scary thought, what about peer-to-peer network brokering? That could be a situation where, what if individuals had a brokering network to do blockchain technology? Basically, something like that could circumvent us. So it's something to be considering of what the future could look like. So it's your turn now. Where do you guys see the potential with blockchain technology?
Well, great
Oh,
job, and laying that out.